For this week's Wellbeing Wednesday, I want to talk about the importance of listening for our well-being. What we find is that many times communication is such a core component for our well-being, for our social relationships, for our productivity, for our ability to get things done. And many times when there's a communication breakdown, we start breaking apart and thinking, what could I have said differently? How could I have made this argument differently? But what research shows us is that actually listening is one of the most important core components to effective communication, which then also has a significant positive impact on our productivity as well as our interpersonal relationships. Many times, how listening can see the breakdown in communication is that we are engaged in multitasking. We're trying to do multiple things at the same time, or we're thinking about what we have to do next, or what happened before this conversation, instead of being in the present moment and really being able to focus on the content. Then what happens is that we end up either reacting to only part of what we heard, we jump to conclusions of what we think the person is going to say, or many times we listen to respond instead of listening to understand. And because we're formulating what we want to be able to say to get our point across, we end up missing really important key components. And then that impacts not only our ability to be more productive, but those interpersonal relationships, both personally and professionally. So some quick important tips to improve our listening skills and to really become active listeners. The first piece, of course, is to do the best we can to really focus, to be in the moment, whether it is making eye contact, really shutting down other things. I know it's difficult many times when we're on Zoom calls and technology and things are popping up on our phones and our computers, trying to silence those notifications. If you have to take notes, even letting the person know that that's what you're doing on your devices so they don't think that you're just playing on your phone and not listening to them. Additionally, really as we're conveying that we're listening, also making sure that we're focusing on really comprehending the information. We may have to do some clarification, summarizing what we've heard, paraphrasing, asking to make sure that we're clarifying and seeking to understand what the person is sharing with us before immediately formulating a response. We know that this will not only help us to be able to capture and retain more information, which helps us to be able to be more productive, but it also does help us to build more trust, individuals to feel like they're really being listened to, which helps us to be better teammates and co-workers as well as personal partners. And through this, it shows that we're able to increase our productivity as well as our creativity because we're hearing all of the information that's there for us to actually hear. So it helps us with our workplace well-being as well as our personal and social well-being. So as we're strengthening these relationships, as we're cutting down on miscommunication, which then also cuts down on our frustration and our stress, we also then see us having the opportunity to have more positive emotions and being able to have an overall improvement in our well-being. Be well.